if this were a serious attempt to give us a different or improved rules package, you would have given it to us in advance. We had one copy of a red line version here that we were all looking over the chairman's shoulder trying to figure out, but the changes jumped out to us immediately. This is a partisan attempt to change the rules, and here's why. The rule that we have presented and proposed does not draw conclusions. For example, some of the language that they want to strike, to my colleagues here, on page 9 of our rule package, where it is entitled the full committee. Just one example, under the U.S. Department of Justice. Ours says, in conjunction with and also through its subcommittees, the committee intends to conduct oversight of the U.S. Department of Justice. Well, they would effectively have it in there, except to include the phrase, including all department components. By comparison, ours says, including all department components, among other things, the committee will examine. We give an illustrative, not exclusive, but an illustrative list of what the committee will do. This is not drawing conclusions. Listen to the language. Among other things, the committee will examine political bias within the FBI senior leadership. Hey, you know what? If it doesn't exist, well, that's what the outcome will be.
Will the gentleman yield?
No, I will not. We will also look into the misuse of counterterrorism resources to target parents resisting far-left educational curriculum. We know that happened. That is public record. But you know what? If we're wrong, that's what the investigation will determine. The apparent double standard in the enforcement of federal law. Apparent double standard. It is clearly apparent to the American people. That's what we're going to look at. That's our responsibility. That's our jurisdiction. That's what we're going to do. Flip over, if you will, to page 10. Now, this is my subcommittee. I chair the subcommittee on the Constitution and Limited Government. Under the Freedom of Speech subtitle, we say that the subcommittee will examine restraints on free speech. They'd like to end it there. But we say, including efforts by some colleges and universities to limit protests, speeches, distribution of literature, petitions, and other expressive activities. That's not drawing any conclusion. That's saying some of the specific things that we intend to look at. Under the protecting the sanctity of life, the subcommittee will examine the constitutionality and enforcement of federal and state statutes relating to anti-life measures. That's not drawing a conclusion there. We're going to look at that. Their rule here would strike that provision entirely, and I think we all know why. But unfortunately for them, we're in the majority, and we take our responsibility seriously, and we're going to look at that. We didn't have time, literally, we just had a couple of minutes, but something else that jumped out to me on page 15, the subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government. My friends, they want to just strike that in the entire section, all the language about what we're going to be looking at, and of course, we know why there as well. We say, under the civil liberty abuses, for example, the very last paragraph on our rules package as proposed, the select subcommittee will examine issues related to the protection of civil liberties of citizens of the United States, including whether the civil liberties of citizens of the United States have been violated by executive branch agencies. They want to strike that language. What is problematic with that language? That articulates what is on the minds and hearts of the American people. I was home over the last week, as many of us were. I was doing town halls throughout my district in Louisiana. I'm telling you that the American people are deeply concerned about the abuses of their freedoms, their civil liberties, by agencies of this government that are created to serve and protect the people. We believe, we have seen that has been used against them in many cases, and that is our responsibility to investigate, to lay the facts out for the American people to draw their own conclusions, and I think we can't get about that business too soon. Yield to the chairman.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. I would just say that the last thing that the gentleman from Louisiana referenced, the civil liberties abuses, the last thing in our rule document. The subcommittee will examine issues related to the protection of civil liberties of citizens of the United States, including whether the civil liberties of citizens of the United States have been violated by executive branch agencies. That, I would argue, is the fundamental mission of the Judiciary Committee.
Hello? Yes.
That's the fundamental mission, and now we know what the ranking member meant when that subcommittee was formed on the House floor, when the day before he said, we will fight them tooth and nail. Today they come in here and say they're going to be bipartisan. God bless them for the change of heart. But it seems like it's still the tooth and nail attitude that we heard that day on the House floor from the ranking members.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so every time I put out a video you can know about it. It'll come up in your feed. Hit that like button if you liked it, and be positive. Peace.